What is up people, Matt here. So this is today's third video and it'll be the last one today, and it's going to be a top 10, and as you can tell by the title of the video, it is going to be a top 10 PlayStation 1 games. This could end up being quite a long video. If it is, I don't mean it to be, it's just I've got a lot of games to go through, and yeah, I should probably just get straight into it. So I'm going to start with honourable mentions, and then I'm going to move on to the top ones. So I'm just going to try and get through these honourable mentions very quickly. So honourable mention, The Grinch. I really liked this game. You know, I'm not a fan of the movie particularly, but I really like the game. You know, building all the different contraptions and going through the different levels, getting the presents or breaking the presents, and you know, doing the missions. Really fun game. I did beat it. Unlike the next game, Ape Escape. I really liked Ape Escape, but I never beat the game. I found it so difficult. It is, I'm pretty sure, the first ever game that required the dual stick. It even says, there's even a sticker in the corner there. Dual stick, yes. No dual stick, no play. But I really like this game. I haven't played any of the other ones. The next two are pretty much the same. So we've got Bugs Bunny and Taz Time Busters. I really like this one. Would I say it was my favourite? Yeah, I'd probably put this one as my favourite one out of the two. What two am I talking about? Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, obviously. I really like this one as well, but I probably prefer Time Busters. I pretty much cheated on this game. I never really did it legit. It was quite difficult. This is a bit of a weird one. Silent Bomber. So, as a kid I played demo of this game, and I wanted this game. Seriously wanted this game, but I never got it. It wasn't until many years later that I actually picked it up, and it's a good game. Now, the last honourable mentions I've got, but these are by no means the last ones I could have mentioned. There's so many I'm gonna miss out. The Tekken games, Metal Gear Solid, the Gran Turismo games, MDK. You know, there's so many. But these are the last honourable mentions I'm going to give. Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain Blood Omen. So that's the first one in the Kain series, which is pretty cool. And Legacy of Kain Soul Reaper. I'm a huge fan of this. I like the series. I've never beaten a Blood Omen game or Legacy of Kain game in my life. The closest I probably got was Legacy of Kain Defiance on the Xbox, but that's not related to this video, so I won't talk about it. So those were my honourable mentions, and now I will get on to the top 10. So at number 10 is Pac-Man World. Never beat this game either. It's a bit bad up now, you know, it's not even in a proper PlayStation case anymore, which is a shame. You know, I might get another copy of it eventually, who knows. But Pac-Man World, now it says on the case, all new 3D Pac-Man game. I don't know if it was the first ever Pac-Man 3D game. It could well be, but I'm not sure. It was a really fun 3D platformer-ish Pac-Man game. I really enjoyed it. I played the game a hell of a lot when I was a lot younger. As I said, never beat the game though. I got stuck on a specific part of the game. But yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say about the Pac-Man world really, because it definitely isn't one of my favourites, even though it's on the top 10, but it is one that stands out to me. So at number 9, now this is where I'm going to start kind of bunching together games, because if I did solo games, I'm pretty sure half the list would be taken up by just 2 series, so I had to bundle them together. So I am, of course, the number 9 is Croc Legend of the Gobbos. I really liked that one, but we mustn't forget Croc 2. Another fun game. I actually have kind of beaten Croc 1. nowhere near did I beat Croc 2 though. I didn't even know what the hell to do in that game really most of the time. I just got Croc 2 just totally lost me. I mean, I'll be honest, I enjoyed it, but I just couldn't do anything in it. I was like, what the hell am I doing? It was not by no means, it was very kind of openish world, whereas Croc 1's very linear. You go each level. I'd prefer if they had stayed with the formula of the first one, but you know, they tried something new, and we never got a Croc 3. Whether that's good or bad, I really can't say, to be fair. So at number 8 is Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. Now this is one of my favourite games on the PlayStation 1, but it's only at number 8. So that tells you how good some of the other games are going to be on this list. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, I often battle with myself about whether it's the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Game or not. At one time or another, I definitely thought it was the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, but now I really don't know. I really love Duelist of the Roses on the PS2. I've definitely warmed to, you know, Capsule Monsters Coliseum on the PS2, and I really like False-Bound Kingdom on the GameCube. But Forbidden Memories is pretty much one of the very first Yu-Gi-Oh! Games ever, and they did an amazing job of it. Very fond memories playing Forbidden Memories. So, it's definitely a good game that I love. Now the next ones, so we're on to number 7 now. So, I am of course talking about none other than the Rayman series. So you've got Rayman 1, then you got Rayman 2, Great Escape, and this isn't really a main one, but I thought I should mention anyway, Rayman Rush. So I really love the Rayman games. Do I have a favourite? Probably 2. I probably prefer 2 to 1, but 1 is a brilliant game. Rush is a fun game, I swear, if you've got people to play it with. It's kind of a racing game, which sounds weird, but it works. Love the Rayman games, awesome platformers. 3's alright on the PS2, on the GameCube and the Xbox, I think. The new Rayman games, yeah, I played them, I like them, but I think he's done now pretty much. He's kind of outgrown it. Rabbids still going, but I don't play that stuff. And the next one's going to be a bit of a controversial one, but you know, I've got to do it. I've got to put it. I can't put it anywhere else really. So number 6 is Final Fantasy VII. Now, people will probably think I'm fucking insane saying Final Fantasy VII is only 6th on my list of PlayStation 1 games, but it's true. I'm not gonna dish Final Fantasy VII. It is by far one of the best JRPGs to ever grace this earth, but it isn't one of my best PlayStation 1 games. It's a good game, and it could be one of the best. Well, it is one of the best games of all time, but it just doesn't make the top 5 on my list. And that's that. Final Fantasy VII, you know, it's up there, but not in my list. So number 5, we've got the Klonoa series, or Klonoa Daughter of Phantom Mile. Oh dear, what can I say about this game? I played the demo as a kid again, much like Silent Hill. Not Silent Hill, Silent Bomber. And I fell in love with it. I loved that game like no other, but I never got it. And many years later, I was like, oh, I remember that game, I really like it. How much is it? It's a very expensive game. It's probably in the top 10 most expensive PlayStation 1 games, I would say. Probably not in the top 5, but it's easily in the top 10. I had to buy it. I bought it off eBay one day. you know, and I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's a brilliant 2.5D platformer game. I've beaten the game through. Loved the sequel on the PS2, Lunatia's Veil. And there's also this game, which I didn't really know existed for quite a while. Klonoa Beach Volleyball, which is a pretty fun game. I played it. It's a good game. It's alright. But that's all I can really say about the Klonoa series. Really, it is they're brilliant games. Why the hell didn't we get Klonoa 3? I think it's diabolical. But you know, it's life really. So. Now that was number 5. So now we're kind of getting into the big. We're in the big leagues now, really, top 4. So top number 4, I guess you could say, is Medieval. So Medieval 1, which I love, and Medieval 2. Why didn't we get a Medieval 3? What the hell? We got a remake of 1 on the PSP, but that was it. And he's in PlayStation All Stars. Danny's. Where's 3? Anyway, it's too late now, really. Do I have a favourite out of the 2? Yeah, I'd probably prefer 1 to 2, to be fair. 2 is a brilliant game, though. Very funny at times. I love the setting. I like the bosses. I like the plot-ish. Well, I do like the plot, actually. Medieval games were brilliant. I played them when I was a lot younger. I never really beat them legit. I always used the cheat codes to get all the weapons, but I have played through it since then, start to finish, no cheats, beating it. Which was I had to do it really. But the medieval games are brilliant, kind of run around action adventure game, hack and slash sort of game, really fun. I really wish they had done a third one, but I don't know, maybe Medieval wasn't popular and that's why they didn't do a third one, but then why did they do a second one if it wasn't popular? Maybe they gave it a second chance and it didn't work out. That's all I can think of. So now we are into the top 3, and the next pile is going to be a bit of a long one, I must admit, but needs must. So number 1 of the top 3 is Crash Bandicoot. Oh dear, Crash Bandicoot. I love Crash Bandicoot 1. I haven't, I'm not going to lie, I haven't really beaten it legit. I use the cheats to do all the bosses. I have kind of played through the game without cheating, but I haven't like collected all the gems or anything like that. But Crash Bandicoot 1, oh yes, brilliant game, brilliant game. Now, obviously what's after Crash 1? Obviously you've got Crash Bandicoot Cortex Strikes Back. This is my favourite Crash game on the PS1, by far. It was different to the first one. Instead of going around the island, you actually just go into warp rooms and go to the different levels, and I really did like that. 2 is my favourite Crash game, probably. There might be maybe I prefer one of the ones on the PS2, but I probably don't. So Crash 2 probably is my favourite Crash game. So obviously next we've got Crash 3 Warped. Yeah, okay, Crash 3 Warped is a good game. I do like it, I must admit. But I don't know really. I mean, I felt like they did improve with Crash 3, but by then it was getting a bit... Crash was starting to get a bit worn out, maybe. You know, he'd had 2 games before it. I don't know when Crash 3 came out, but I'm guessing it came out near the end of the PS1, because obviously, well, no, it probably wasn't, but it was. We were probably past the halfway mark. Crash was getting a bit worn out, probably. It was his last platformer on the system. Crash 3 Warped is a good game though. I played it through. I do enjoy it. So on to the next one. We've got the infamous Crash Bash party game. What can I say about that? Love playing it. It's a fun game. Bit difficult at points, I found. There's definitely some of the levels I really hate, but it was still a good party game to play, to be fair. I never played Mario Party when I was growing up, so I mean Crash Bash was what I had, and that's what I made do with. Choose your character, go through the levels, fight the boss at the end of 4 stages. Do that about 5 times. Do the different challenges. Fun party game. It was a good party game. And the last Crash game on the PlayStation, none other than Crash Team Racing. I really like this game. Played it more recently than many of the others, certainly. Definitely a good racing game. You know, can't say fairer than that. It's a good racing game. Is it better than Mario Kart? Probably not, but a lot of people do say it is, and I can totally understand why they think that. Play as all your favourite Crash characters. It's kind of a story. There's a bit of a story mode. They introduce a new enemy, Nitrous Oxide, who's an alien. Bit weird, but you know, whatever, it works. He's actually also the enemy. He's also the main bad guy in Crash Bash, ironically, which is a bit weird, but there you go. So that's the Crash games out of the way, and they were kind of the top 3. Obviously, my favourite was Crash 2. So on to the second game, or the top 2. We're in the top 2 now, so we've got number 2. Now this is where it got difficult, because I really had a hard time picking, but well, I didn't really have a hard time picking, but I thought that I did. Number 2 is none other than Final Fantasy VIII. Bum bum bum. Yes, okay, I prefer Final Fantasy VIII to 7. Whatever. I think I think this is genuinely a better game. Okay. You got all those people out there saying Final Fantasy VII is the pinnacle. First 3D Final Fantasy game. Fair enough. It is the first 3D Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy VIII pretty much improved in every area. The character models were freaking amazing improvement on 7. The battle system, yeah, it was okay. I prefer Squall to Cloud personally. Bad guys, okay, Sephiroth is probably a better bad guy than Ultimacia, but whatever. Loved the triple triad card game in Final Fantasy VIII, although I was pretty shit at it, so I never really did it. If I sat down and did it now, I'd probably really enjoy it, because I'd probably be able to do it better. But Final Fantasy VIII is it's easily one of my favourite PS1 games of all time, and it is one of my favourite Final Fantasy games of all time. Final Fantasy VIII definitely is up there, in my list at least. Now, before I do the number 1, I'm going to go for a couple more honourable mentions. Although I probably shouldn't be honouring them because I haven't really played them. So, we've got Final Fantasy IX. Not played this whatsoever, although people do say it's their favourite Final Fantasy, which is totally fine, or at least the final favourite one on the PS1. Totally fine. Good for them. Next we've got Final Fantasy VI, which didn't actually originate on the PS1, it actually originated on the SNES, and it's called Final Fantasy III in America. Also contains a bonus disc for Final Fantasy X on the PS2, which is pretty cool. Not played it either, to be fair, so I don't really know a lot about 6, although people do say that is the best one. Next we have Final Fantasy Anthology, which obviously includes Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy V. Pretty cool game. Played a bit of 4, not played 5, but it's pretty cool. And lastly we've got Final Fantasy Origins, which obviously includes Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 2. So pretty cool there. Final Fantasy 3 was never put out on the PlayStation 1. In fact, the first time we actually got it over here was on the DS remake. You know, okay, the Squaresoft have something against Final Fantasy 3. Don't know why it wasn't released here. I've actually played 3. for a bit. It was alright game. But anyway, so now we obviously got on to number one, the top one. Now there are more than one game, which you probably say is a cop out. I don't personally think it is, because you'll find out in a minute. So my number one PlayStation 1 game is none other than the Spyro series. I mean, come on. Spyro the Dragon. This isn't my favourite Spyro game, to be fair, but I love Spyro like no other. So obviously you have the first one, Spyro 1, which is the first one I played. Then you've got Spyro 2 Gateway to Glimmer. In America it's called Ripto's Rage. And you got Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon to round off the trilogy on the PlayStation 1. Now before we move on, I've got a bit of a quiz. Now, yeah, this isn't probably fair because I've pretty much told nobody what my favourite is. But the question is, what is my favourite Spyro game? I'll make it a bit easier. It is one on the PlayStation 1. I said, it is one of the PlayStation 1 games. It isn't Spyro, well, you don't know. It could be Spyro 1. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, question, what is my favourite Spyro game on the PlayStation 1? You'll either know or you won't. So I'll just come out and say it really. I mean, there might be one or two of you that probably know my favourite, or maybe you guess. But my favourite Spyro game is actually Spyro 2 Gateway to Glimmer. This is my favourite Spyro game by far. Freaking love it. Brilliant game. Ripto as a villain is funny and amazing at the same time. I personally prefer all the levels in Spyro 2. I like the book that you get and collect all your shit in. Spyro 2 is... This is easily my favourite PlayStation 1 game of all time. I don't think my opinion will ever change. It's just that good a game for me. And yeah, it's just my favourite PlayStation 1 game, to be fair. Although the other Spyro games, Spyro the Dragon and Spyro Year of the Dragon, fantastic games. Beat them both. Obviously beat Spyro 2. I've beaten pretty much a lot of these PS1 games, fair. There were, with a few exceptions. Final Fantasy 7 obviously never beaten, which is sacrilege to some people, but I've never beaten it. Final Fantasy 8, okay, I did beat it, but I cheated, so I don't really count that. I'll probably go back and play it through legit sometime, and I hope I will. But yes, so those were my top 10 and honourable mentions of the PlayStation 1. I missed a lot. I know I missed Chicken Run, I missed Buzz Lightyear, I missed Disruptor, I missed Doom, I missed Dynasty Warriors 1, I missed Apocalypse, I missed MDK, I missed Gran Turismo, I missed Harry Potter Philosopher's Stone. I missed a lot of games. Oh, Spider-Man 1, that was a freaking brilliant game. Small Soldiers is another good game. But I couldn't mention them all because I'd be here all day mentioning them. This video is probably long enough as it is, to be fair. I don't know how long it is, but it's probably pretty long. But those were my top favourite PlayStation 1 games. As always, thank you for watching this video, and I will definitely see you on the next one. Bye now.